once again, back once again, back once again, back once again, back once again with a beat. Let the bass kick.
Hey, I'm Scott, and welcome to the Wisdom in All Things podcast, where each episode is an attempt to help you quickly understand and apply wisdom in all things, mind, body, and soul. I try to search and sift through some rather interesting things to pull together something that's bite-sized that will really help you out. In today's episode, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Be kind, not nice. Because kindness can't be missed. Mark Twain says, kindness is the language what the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Because kindness penetrates. Similar to the way that water can find its way into the most hidden, protected places. However, when it comes to kindness, it's not so much that it breaches as it is being absorbed. Kindness is wanted, needed, life-giving. Nice, on the other hand, is temporary and superficial. Nice is the sizzle. Kindness is the steak. Why do we settle for the sizzle? It probably is in large part due to the training we received. What parent, having reached the limits of their patience, hasn't yelled, "Why can't you just be nice, play nice, say something nice"? That wasn't very nice. The Bible doesn't teach, call, or direct us to be nice. We're called to love one another, be kind to one another, treat others as we would like to be treated. Just look at Ephesians 4:32. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. In fact, there was even a time when you wouldn't have wanted to be called nice. Monsignor Charles Pope provides this historical look at being nice. He says the adjective nice was once a derogatory word used to describe a person that was something of a fool. The word nice comes from the Latin word meaning ignorant, unaware. The Old French word nice, 12th century, also came from this Latin root and meant careless, clumsy, weak, simple, foolish, stupid. You just didn't want to be nice. It wasn't until the 14th century, he describes, that the word took on the simpler meaning of being fussy. Then in the 15th century, Pope describes it taking a turn toward dainty and delicate. And by the 19th century, it had fully transformed into its current meaning of being kind and thoughtful. Now, don't get me wrong, there are no issues with being polite and courteous and pleasant to others, except that by starting off in that direction, we tend to slip into avoiding confrontation, which is totally me, and seeking to please others, me again, which can lead to our being just superficial and insincere. On the other hand, being kind means showing compassion, empathy, understanding toward others. Being kind means being genuinely concerned about the welfare of others and seeking to help and support them whenever possible. While being nice seems like a nice thing, being kind is far more meaningful and potent. If you want to bottom line it, probably the most important reason why being kind is more important than being nice is that kindness is an essential component of the Christian faith. In the Bible, we are commanded to love one another and to show kindness to all people. Indeed, Jesus himself taught us to love our enemies and do good to those who persecute us. Kindness is what comes out of us when life gives us a squeeze. It's the fruit of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22 through 23 lays out the characteristics that should be seen in us, and kindness is among them. Remember, fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Forrest Gump could have just sent Lieutenant Dan a card. That would have been nice. If you recall from the movie, Forrest visits Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump at his house and finds a depressed, angry man. Forrest offers to help Lieutenant Dan, but he refuses, telling Forrest that he's angry at God and doesn't want his help. And despite Lieutenant Dan's resistance, Forrest continues to be persistently kind. He helps his friend clean up his house and takes him on a fishing trip, and over time, Lieutenant Dan begins to soften and become more open to Forrest's kindness. He starts to see Forrest as a true friend and a supporter, and eventually joins him in the shrimping business. Forrest didn't send a card. He went to his friend and persisted in showing kindness and support, which, as we know from the movie, helped Lieutenant Dan to heal and find purpose in his life. I just don't think a card would have done that. Early in our boys' life, I presented them with what I believed should be and then became our family motto. It's found in Micah 6:8. It says, "He has told you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God." Kindness is a way of life. I would tell the boys that we do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly. Kindness is a way of life. God calls us to will most likely be difficult, but it is always best. C.S. Lewis says, kindness is the golden chain by which society is bound together. Kindness bursts through nice to a world needing to see something real. It is an unmistakably powerful witness to the world. Being kind is truly loving others. So how do we be kind, not nice? Because being nice is like saying, my thoughts are with you. It's cosmetic, a gesture that is of no real benefit to others. You might feel better, but it really doesn't do anything for anyone else. Kindness is the love of Christ, demonstrated in a tangible way that has the intended purpose of drawing people to Christ. Nice doesn't do any wooing. But like the other fruit of the Spirit, kindness doesn't just happen. To see the fruit of the Spirit produced in our lives is a combination of trusting God to produce the fruit while being in a position to put it on display. Here are several opportunities that will help encourage the transformation from being nice to being kind. First, put yourself in a position to demonstrate genuine concern for others. Being kind involves showing genuine concern for others and will typically mean going out of your way to help them. This can include asking how someone is doing, really listening to their response, offering to help with a task, or simply being there for someone when they need support. This is a hard thing for me to say because I need to hear this. But this means not sending the card, but instead calling or going to see the person. Secondly, put yourself in a position to practice empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. So don't think of how you would feel or what you would do in the situation your friend is facing, but strive to understand it from their perspective. Have that understanding. That'll allow you to see the need and then best respond the way they need you to. So put yourself in a position to demonstrate genuine concern for others, to practice empathy, and then be proactive in your kindness. Rather than waiting for someone to ask for help or support, look for ways to be helpful or offer encouragement without being prompted. This is where the card can actually be helpful. Send an encouraging note or let them know you're available to support them. And this especially means choosing kindness in difficult situations like when we've been offended. Let kindness be your first response rather than anger. Be proactive about it. And then lastly, put yourself in a position to practice self-compassion. Are you kind to yourself? This means treating yourself with the same kindness and compassion that Jesus calls us to show others. This can include giving yourself permission to make mistakes and recognizing your own worth and value as a person. Practicing self-compassion puts us in a better place to extend that same kindness and compassion to others. If you read the transcript of this podcast at the website, I included an image. It's of a soccer game, a youth soccer game. In fact, it was young kids, real young kids. And the ref has stopped the game to tie the shoe for the young player. And like that picture, being nice would have been to tell the child that his shoe is untied. Being kind is stopping the game and tying his shoe for him. When we put ourselves in the right position for God to work through us, we will blow through being nice to being kind. I know you're busy. This is why I've put together the Wisdom in All Things podcast to help you benefit from all there is to read and watch and listen to. And if you would, please tell others what you've heard, where they can hear it. And if you want more wisdom, go to wisdominallthings.com.